everybody, and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode of New Music Weekly, the show where I give you guys the biggest prog news of the week, introduce you guys to some new prog singles to check out, and give you updates on what's happening here on Nathan on Shuffle on the channel, both in this past week and what's upcoming. So hopefully you enjoy the show today. There's a lot of news items. It's a pretty big stacked week of stuff happening, so I'm excited to dive into it. It's November 23rd, 2024. And as always, I like to start with some of the new releases that have come out this week. First and foremost is the new Opeth album, The Last Will and Testament, which I've been a fan of Opeth for quite some time. I've struggled with them in the past because of their growling vocals, which have made a return on this album, but it's very proggy, very interesting. It's a concept record, very different, and well worth your time to explore if you are curious of what they sound like in the new era here. Maybe starting a new era for the band where they kind of combine their old school style with their new school prog mentality. But I'm going to be doing a review of this week. Feel like I'm a little late to the party since there's so many reviews that have come out for this album, but I want to give my thoughts and basically detail my journey with Opeth in that video, but I'll just say that I really love the record and recommend it. So that's been one of the big releases that I wanted to, of course, mention here. It was delayed. It was originally going to be released like a month earlier, but they wanted to make sure that they had all the vinyl ready and all of the big packages to be able to coincide with this release. So now we've got it in the wild and people are really excited about it and talking about it quite a bit. Also, Kyros released a cool little mini EP, Love and Fear, which contains 2 tracks on it, Love and Fear, their new single, and a track called Duchess Desire, which is like a bonus track, if you will, for their Mannequin album, in my eyes. You know, it's very much in that era of the band. It sounds like it could belong there. It also has some callbacks to Mannequin itself, so I was just overjoyed to hear this. Kind of a great reminder before I do my year-end lists, because Mannequin by Kyros is going to factor into that equation, so it just brings that back to mind and adds another cool layer to their album. So I highly recommend those singles, or mini EP as it were. A fantastic band, Kyros, one of the best in the modern prog genre, maybe one of the most underrated groups, doing this more synth pop style into their core prog sound. It's really interesting and intricate and fun and catchy and really great. So I really recommend that. And a new thing that I just was made aware of, a band called Stop.drop.rewind. Their self-titled release came out this week. So more in kind of this prog punk kind of vein. Think about like Blink-182 or, you know, some of those like alternative bands from the 2000s, punk bands. Also, I thought about Coheed and Cambria and what they do a little bit. But it's like emo progs, perhaps. You know, if you like your kind of modern alternative music with a little bit of prog flourishes, a bit of a math rock flavor, I thought this was a really cool release that I wanted to mention quickly on the show. So, getting into the prog news items here, I wanted to briefly touch upon Steven Wilson's release here, a surprise Christmas single that he released last year, December Skies, is getting a physical release, and it's kind of generating a lot of buzz and interest and discussion from at least my friends on the internet who've been doing videos about AI and music and how does it fit in, does it belong, should it be something that we should be vehemently against, and all this kind of stuff. I don't have as strong a take on this kind of topic as they do. Of course, I'm a little bit icked out by people who use AI in music and try to pass it off as their own music. Of course, it's some form of plagiarism, because AI is basically just taking existing stuff out there on the internet and utilizing that in the creation of something new. So it's perhaps a slippery slope, but what Steven Wilson did here on this release, I think is actually not too problematic, because basically last year he had AI write lyrics to a Christmas song by Steven Wilson. So basically kind of plagiarizing himself, seeing what AI would come up with, because he's always felt not well equipped to write a Christmas song. It's just not in his wheelhouse. And so he thought it would be an interesting thing to see what AI would come up with Steven Wilson-like lyrics for a Christmas song. And it came out as a pretty interesting little Christmas single that I really actually liked, that he wrote the music to, called December Skies, which is actually getting a physical release now. And I thought that was interesting. It's going to be available as a limited edition CD and 7-inch vinyl, featuring vocal and instrumental versions of the song, plus 3 exclusive Steven Wilson Christmas cards. Illustrated by Hajo Mueller, who also created the front cover. It's also going to be available in Dolby Atmos and spatial audio on Apple, Tidal, and Amazon, as well as a standard audio release on all other streaming platforms. So if you're interested in a Christmas single by Steven Wilson and haven't caught this one yet, I think it's an interesting listen. Of course, I hope that he doesn't infuse AI into his like proper studio albums and things like that, because I value the soul of music and people coming up with things out of their own creation, their own mind and their own creativity. But I think AI can be used as a tool to help in a lot of different ways in different facets of the world and in life. So I'm not quite dialed in on what the best approach is. I think mostly I'm just a fan of being open and honest and, clearly stating if you're using AI in some capacity. That's all I really mind at this moment. But as I study it more and learn more from my friends and stuff, I definitely can see some of the problematic natures of AI. So something to keep tabs on. Hopefully it doesn't start a trend of a lot of AI generated music, at least in this space. But we'll see kind of how that proves in the future. Second item here, Jethro Tull share a 2024 remakes of their track Jack Frost and the Hooded Crow. This is a really cool single from their upcoming Christmas album release, which is expanded and remixed edition of their 2003 release, the Jethro Tull Christmas album. This is coming out via Inside Out Music on December 6, 2024, so a cool proggy Christmas item that you can take and listen to during this season. I think it's kind of hard to find really good proggy Christmas music. I think it's something I've tried to find, and I found some cool hidden gems throughout my exploration. I've done a couple videos about that and stuff, but I thought this is a really cool Christmas album in a progressive spirit, this Jethro Tull Christmas album. So it's cool to see it being remastered and redone for today's age. It's going to be really cool to listen to that. Fresh Snow at Christmas is the title, the kind of moniker subtitle of this release. And it's remakes from the original masters by Bruce Sword of The Pineapple Thief, as well as being given the surround sound treatment in both Dolby Atmos and 5.1. The limited deluxe 4 CD and Blu-ray book set collection features all new artwork, as well as live material, and includes the following across its 5 discs. The first CD, the original album mixes. CD 2, the 2024 remixes by Bruce Sword. CD 3, Christmas Live at St. Bride's 2008, newly remixed by Bruce Sword. CD 4, the Ian Anderson Band Live at St. Bride's 2006, previously unreleased. Blu-ray. There's a Blu-ray with it. Dolby Atmos 5.1 surround sound mix, high resolution stereo mixes, all of the goodies to expect. Like, Jethro Tull's been doing this with a lot of their classic albums, these like thick booklets that contain tons of different material and unreleased things and live sets and all this kind of stuff. And so as a fan of Jethro Tull, it's cool to see the Christmas album getting this sort of a treatment right in time for the holidays. So it's also going to be available as a gatefold 2LP featuring the 2024 remixes. And of course, pre-orders are all available on all of the sites that you should be familiar with where you can order your Prog releases. So should be a cool one. Another big classic Prog re-release here. Genesis announced the 50th anniversary Super Deluxe edition of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. This is, of course, their classic 1974 double album, concept album, one of the marquee albums in the genre. It inspired so many different artists to create cool concept records as well. I love this record. It's one of my favorites of all time. And this is their last album that they did with Peter Gabriel in the group. So it's sort of a love letter to Peter Gabriel and his creativity. He came up with all of this story and brought it to the band. So This is going to be a huge, expansive product. So if you're a fan of this album, this is a way to dive deep into it. It's going to be released as a 50th anniversary super deluxe edition across 5 vinyl LPs and a Blu-ray. And then, of course, also the CD version, 4 CDs and Blu-ray, and as a digital release, including a Dolby Atmos mix done by Bob McKenzie and overseen by Peter Gabriel and Tony Banks at Real World Studios. Through Rhino Warner on March 28th. So a big expansive release. This seems to be the trend nowadays, is these classic artists bringing their classic material into the new age, remixing, remastering, doing these big expanded box sets, finding a new audience to buy this material, or the same audience to rebuy this material. I'm sure a lot of people buying this super deluxe edition already have this album in various formats as well. So but it's fun for collectors and fun way to relive the experience of these classic albums. So I don't begrudge people for wanting to buy these big, expansive deluxe sets. Maybe a bit out of my price range. We'll see. Maybe I'll just stick with my classic vinyl version of the album. But a lot of cool stuff. There's also some live stuff that's going to be available with this release. In addition to the original album makes. It's going to also have this full live show, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway live at the Shrine Auditorium from 1975, including the encore tracks. So a lot of stuff being released here as part of this big grand deluxe set. So if you're into that stuff, then this should be a great thing to invest in, perhaps. We got some announcements of some live albums that are going to be released from Riverside and Steve Hackett, in fact. So first, Riverside, of course, Poland's pioneering and leading progressive rock band, a fantastic group. They released their album Identity earlier last year, I believe. Fantastic record from them. This is a live release. It was recorded on June 1st, 2024 in Warsaw. This is called Live ID, so it's taking a lot of the tracks and material from Identity, and they're performing it live along with a lot of classics from across their catalog. This is going to be cool. There's a live Blu-ray included with it, of course, along with the live CD as well. 12 songs across 110 minutes playing time. This is going to be released via Inside Out Music on January 24th, 2025. So not too far away, a couple months away, but it's available for pre-order as well. And a live track from it, Landmine Blast, is available to watch on YouTube, which will be in my Prog singles list as well. And Steve Hackett also, his annual performance at Trading Boundaries in Sussex in the United Kingdom. This is kind of a tradition apparently for him in recent years. So he's presented kind of a stripped down version of the material, showcasing his acclaimed classical compositions. And so this should be a kind of cool intimate style show to document here. Live Magic at Trading Boundaries, set for release on January 17th, 2025, collecting various recordings from these shows over the years, and also features appearances from regular collaborators, including brother John Hackett on flute, Roger King on keys, Rob Townsend on flute and sax, and Amanda Lehman on guitar and vocals. This release also coincides with his next 2 live appearances at the venue on 18th and 19th of January 2025. So there's a release of YouTube track that you can check out of Ace of Wands, which is from his debut solo album Voyage of the Acolyte. So that's available for listening if you want to pre-release, something to get an idea of what this live album will entail. So it's going to be, of course, available as a limited edition CD digipack, gatefold 180 gram 2LP vinyl, and a digital album, of course, mixed by longtime live sound engineer Ben Finner. So it should be another fantastic release. Steve Hackett does a lot of these live releases, so it's kind of another feather in his cap of his live performances documented. He just seems to be nonstop live touring at this kind of later stage of his life and career. So it's really cool that he's giving people so many opportunities to see him live and to document it in these live Blu-ray CD collections. So fantastic. Excited for that release. Should be a cool one. I saw that Coheed and Cambria announced their 3rd Vaxis album is coming, called The Father of Make Believe. This is coming out through Virgin Music Group on March 14th. So this is an installment in the band's Armory Wars Vaxis universe, and it has a brand new single out called Searching for Tomorrow, which to me, in my ears, this is one of their coolest singles since like their classic era in the early 2000s. So fantastic release, hopefully from them. I'm excited to see what comes. They're going to appear at Tool's Tool in the Sand Festival in Dominican Republic in March, alongside acts like Primus and Mastodon. Should be a cool time there. And this album will be available in multiple versions, limited edition box sets and the like, and should be fun to check out if you're a Coheed and Cambria fan. And beyond that, I have a lot of cool singles that I want to point out from my singles list, along with the Kyros track that I mentioned at the beginning, Fear and Love, the Jethro Tull Christmas track, Jack Frost and the Hooded Crow, the Coheed and Cambria track, as well as the 2 live tracks from Riverside and Steve Hackett. So a lot going on there in this prog singles list, but to add a couple extras, some lesser known groups that I think are worth some attention. Asymmetric Universe released a single called Opaco. This is a newly signed Inside Out band from Italy, an instrumental prog metal fusion group. Fantastic track, just instrumental and cool and proggy, and has a lot of different moments and movements within the track, so it's definitely something worth listening to. A lot of people cite bands like Animals as Leaders and Polyphia as influences, but maybe a bit more jazziness in their soundscape. So a really cool group that's definitely worthy of some more attention, and they should be releasing an album, I would imagine, sometime next year. So should be a cool band to follow. Degray released their track Perils. This is a Norwegian band known for their cinematic atmospheric sound that fuses rock, folk, and chamber pop, following their acclaimed debut Flown and the expansive evocative soundscapes of their second album Firmament. This is their third album, is set to be released on February 28th next year, called Shards. So this is the first new single from it. A band I've always paid much attention to because their keyboard player, Oscar, is also part of Big Big Train, so there's some shared energy there between those groups, and I believe Degray has even opened up for Big Big Train recently, so a cool band, maybe not capital P prog, very much in more of a rock folk kind of vein, but beautifully realized, just great music and a great track that I wanted to point out. One that I was really excited about, there's not much information about this one, but Cheetos Magazine, which is a band I absolutely love, a really quirky, cool prog band that came out with their album Amazingness in 2019, have finally released something new called Clinic Nutilla 2024. Check this out. Go seek this out. If you're into the same quirky brand of progressive rock as me, this is right up your street. Haken, Spock's Beard, all of that mixed into one cool stew of new sounds and exciting explorations. I'm a big fan of this. Hopefully it means that there's an album on the horizon, but I haven't heard much more information beyond just the fact that this dropped seemingly out of nowhere. And I thought it would be cool to mention Whimsical Creature. This is a project from Michael Whiteman, who's a member of I Am the Manic Whale, also worked a lot with Ryo Okamoto on his previous solo album. He's working here with Ella Lloyd, who's provided flute on the Manic Whale albums. So it's more of a folky kind of sound to it. It's Michael Whiteman's desire to kind of do something more folky and acoustic, and that's what you get here with a beautiful track that doesn't feel too outside of the realm of what I Am the Manic Whale do really well, but maybe a more stripped down acoustic style. The track is called The Stargazer, and hopefully is another sign of things to come, that they'll be releasing an album in 2025 that'll be quite exciting to check out, that will be on my radar as well. So that's what I have for you guys on the show today. Check out the description for all of those singles. There's 9 of them that I've mentioned throughout this video that are all well worth checking out. A really stacked week of music and new stuff to look into if you're into that like I am. And so as for the channel this week, I did a Prog Song Sunday with Jana last weekend called, it was for Renaissance and their track Northern Lights, one of their poppier, more big hit singles perhaps, but we loved it and Jana loved it as well. We had a little bit of an earthquake while we were recording it, so if you're interested in that, it's in the video kind of towards the end. But it was a fun time. We had a good time filming that one. I did a review of Randy McStein's solo album, Mutual Hallucinations. I think it's fantastic, really cool album that showcases a rising star in the prog genre, singer-songwriter combined with some cool proggy flourishes. Definitely well worth your time if you like Steven Wilson's stuff that he's done as of late. Randy McStein has even played with Porcupine Tree Live, so definitely something to check out if you're a fan. And I did a top 5 5-album runs, which the comment section has shown me that I missed a lot of big ones that I should have at least mentioned in my honorable mention section. So I feel like it's a bit incomplete, but I stand by my top 5 selections. I think they're all fantastic ones and great 5-album runs by bands that I absolutely love, where they did 5 consecutive albums in a row that were all fantastic. So check that out. This week, of course, is all focused on the Opeth review. I'm going to be putting that out this week. Hopefully you guys are interested in my thoughts on the new Opeth. I'm a bit intimidated because I'm not a big metalhead, but I have some thoughts and some things to say there. So I'm hoping that'll be of interest to you guys. And I'm going to be doing, of course, shows with Jana. I'm going to be doing the next Prog Song Sunday coming out tomorrow. Hopefully should be a good one, a kind of expanded modern prog instrumental track. I'll leave it at that and let you guys kind of stew over what that could be. Really a cool song. So it was fun to listen to with Jana. And I'm gearing up for a lot of year-end content. That's really all I'm focused on right now is the year-end stuff in December that I'm planning. Some big roundups of the best albums of the year, of course. My Sweet 16 tournament of my favorite albums of the year. And I'm going to be doing a big roundup of like all the albums, especially from this last quarter of the year that I haven't covered yet, that I think are well worth your time and attention, that I can do kind of in a brief, quick episode. These like 20 album recommendations that you need to check out. So should be a lot of fun, a lot of cool stuff ahead. There's going to be a slight bit of a break, of course, around like the Thanksgiving holiday here in the US. I'm going to be traveling and not able to really film anything, so that the latter half of next week into the following week is just going to be not very heavy with content on the channel. Hopefully you'll forgive me, but I'll be coming in full force with all those like December year-end shows that I'm excited to put out there. So thank you guys for keeping with the channel, for sticking around here, for being such great supporters and great friends. I'm so thankful for this channel and the ability it gives me to share great things with you guys, and it's one of the greatest joys in my life right now. So thank you guys, and I'll hopefully catch you in a future episode. Bye everybody!